Good evening. Hello, welcome. It's good to see you all here on this gloomy, rainy day, but we are going to brighten it up this hour. My name is Elise Nelson-Winger. I'm the university chaplain here at Tufts, and on behalf of the Multi-Faith Chaplaincy, welcome to the Russell Lecture on Spiritual Life. The Russell Lecture, first offered in 1868, is Tufts' oldest endowed lecture series. And because of the university's steadfast support of religious diversity, because of Tisch College's support through the Solomon Speakers Series, and your presence here, the Russell Lecture is still thriving. We at Tufts are truly a reflection of the world's religious and philosophical traditions, and here is where we explore and practice so many things related to community, care, and reverence. In its first 50 years, the Russell Lecture speakers were primarily scholars and preachers from the Universalist Christian tradition, including Tufts faculty members. And topics emphasized a Protestant Christian worldview. By the early 20th century, and especially following World War I, themes expanded to include religion and ethics, global affairs, and the vocation of citizenship. And in these past 20 years of the 21st century, that has brought the greatest diversity of thought, perspectives, and identities yet. Since 2002, the Russell Lecture has welcomed global peacemakers like Desmond Tutu, public theologians and disruptors like James Carroll and Sister Simone Campbell, interfaith visionaries like Valerie Kaur and Eboo Patel, Tufts alums like physician and mentor Dr. Gloria White-Hammond, and poets like Ophelia Zapata. Tonight's lecture adds a new dimension to this legacy as we welcome renowned hip-hop artist and activist, poet, and now professor, D1. D1 will not only share wisdom and provocation with us, but has worked with the Voices for Peace and Light to offer 2 songs, another first for the Russell Lecture. As I overheard the ensemble rehearsing My Happy with D1 last Thursday at Goddard Chapel, I felt a swell of gratitude and, well, I felt happy. So much new music is being shared and new community built here at Tufts because of D1's role as an artist and scholar in residence at Tisch College in collaboration with the university chaplaincy. I think on these last months of small group conversations and open mic nights, and all the ways students and community members are opening up new pathways for exploring and sharing spirituality and stories through music. We are being changed by this experience. The arts and spirituality are inextricably bound. And the communities we build through human expression in music, dance, theater, and art, they can lead us to new visions of community and reconciliation and justice for our campus and our wider world. May tonight's lecture bolster our hope in that promise. And now, I would like to welcome Interfaith Ambassador Kyle Hammond to introduce our Russell speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Kyle Hammond. I'm a junior here at Tufts University. And first, when I was given the pleasure of the overwhelming joy of being able to introduce someone I've been able to call a friend in such a short period of time, it was stupendous, honestly. But award-winning rapper, educator, author, activist, business owner, world-renowned keynote speaker, national social emotional learning consultant, Nasir Jones Hip Hop Fellow at Harvard University, Tufts University professor. His name is D1. Transitioning from being a middle school math teacher in Louisiana, he is now a hip hop heavyweight, and we all know the best is yet to come. He's released 22 projects thus far in his career, with his recent album Uno debuting at number 4 in the world on Apple Music, 100% independent. Also, Hood to Harvard is out now. Go get that. I've also prepared some of my own words because it was truly just an honor. Because this man of God, this hip hop prophet, he's on a mission to be real, righteous, and relevant, and you can't stop it. The impact that he's had on my life already, not just in wisdom, but just in presence. He's much more than a professor. It is my pleasure to introduce to you this peaceful, powerful spirit, Professor Uno, D1.
Thank you all so much for having me here. This is truly going to be a transformative evening. So I thank you all who have attended and everyone that's choosing to live stream as well. The goal of this evening is for us all to leave here a better version of who we were when we first walked into this door. That is the goal. I'd like to thank Tufts University for hosting me here, President Kumar. I would like to thank Dean Dana Cunningham from Tisch College for hosting me as the artist in residence since I've been here at Tufts. I would like to thank Elise and Nora for hosting me as part of Tufts chaplaincy, which has made my time here at the university even more fulfilling and gratifying. Because truly, my joy is my weapon. I want to challenge us tonight. I want to challenge us to think. On the totem pole of identity, where does our spirituality fall? On the totem pole of identity, when you think about your race, you think about where you're from, you think about your occupation, you think about your spouse, your position as a father or a mother, where does your spirituality fall? When you think about the totem pole of identity and you figure out the answer to that question, it truly helps you to understand a lot about yourself and a lot about the people who you're dealing with in this world. On my totem pole of identity, my spirituality is at the top. It is at the top. So before I am black, I am a child of God. Before I'm an American, I'm a child of God. Before I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, I'm a child of God. Before I'm a hip-hop artist or a professor, I know that I am a child of God. That helps me out so much as I navigate this world. Because when I think about the root of who I am, I come from something that's not of this world, but that's so powerful that he created this world. So there's never any power or any confidence that I should lack. Because when I think about who I am, I know whose I am. It's very important to know who you belong to when you show up in this world. Because if you don't know who you belong to, you will find yourself being a slave to something like money, a green piece of paper. And you'll realize that although this money, if it gets torn up, holds no value at that point, it's simply a green piece of paper that was made and manufactured and processed, you'll realize that I may have dedicated my entire life to pursuing this, so much so that I became a slave to it. You can also find that if your identity is rooted in simply what color you came out the womb, what color your skin is, that's clearly something to be proud of. But if your identity is rooted in that, more so than in your spirituality, you can find that there are many issues that you'll grapple with over the course of your life, because although you love your race, although you love your ethnicity, you'll find many flaws and many problems with people who have the same racial identity as you. And then it makes you say, well, although I love who I am, there has to be something more than this, because I know that I'm better than just the flaws and the imperfections that I see around me on a daily basis. This is what has contributed to, in a very common sense way, me saying that my identity is rooted in my spirituality. It also helps me to possess the joy that I know distinguishes me from many of my other fellow human beings. My joy is my weapon. My joy is literally what I'm able to use to enter any place and space to battle against whatever is trying to hold humanity back in those spaces. My character and my spirit have opened more doors than my skills and talents have in my life. I'm just being totally honest with you. I've observed this about myself. And since I see that my character and my spirit have opened more doors than my skills and my talents, it makes me say that my character and my spirit should be what I place the emphasis on perfecting moving forward. And in order to do that, we have to have a model. So I feel great for the people in this room who believe in God, who know that there is a spiritual realm that exists that's way beyond just this physical realm that we live in. When I think about instances that I've been through, I'll just name y'all a few of them. Being robbed at gunpoint when I was in college, having a gun literally placed right here on my temple and somebody telling me they're about to take my life and blow my brains out. When I think about people that I called friends or business partners stealing thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars from me, when I think about people who I have been in relationships with, well, one person in particular, who cheated on me with a few football players in college and just really crushed my spirit as a college freshman. When I think about people like this, even currently, when I think about people who I can tell when I come around, there's just a level of disdain that they have towards me, I'm able to smile. I'm able to smile, not that sarcastic smile that we give people when we're plotting on them. Not that one. But I'm able to smile knowing that my validation doesn't come from them liking me or not. And my validation in this world doesn't come from them always treating me fairly. I understand that we are merely physical beings, and this body that we have is just an external shell. But we are spiritual at the core. And because of that, I often quote Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 12, when I think about what's going on in this world. It says, the whole armor of God. A final word, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on all of God's armor so that you will be able to stand firm against all strategies of the devil. It says strategies of the devil. So the devil is strategic. The devil is crafty. For we are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in this dark world, which lets me know that some of the people who have the mightiest power are dark internally and spiritually, and also against evil spirits in the heavenly places. That scripture right there reminds us to put on the whole armor of God, and it allows us to see beyond just the surface. So I'm not as good as people think I am. Trust me, I'm not. But I'm never as bad as people think I am either. And because I know that, I understand the spiritual equilibrium that I have inside of me. And the goal is to not let people entice me into thinking that I am a God, but to remember that I serve the one great almighty God, and that I am a child of God. So because of that, I have infinite potential and I have infinite power. But I also know and fully understand that I have limitations physically in the earthly realm. When we talk about spirituality, some people get intimidated in this life. Because when you talk about everything being spiritual, it allows you to see that politics has to take a back seat to spirituality. Academics have to take a back seat to spirituality. Your socioeconomic status, we don't care. It takes a back seat to spirituality. We live in a world where you can have money in the bank, but you can be morally bankrupt. People don't like that. They don't like to have to acknowledge that. Because rather than do the work on your character, rather than allow yourself to accept that we serve a God that created us and created everything around us, oftentimes we fall in love with the praise of other people. And we start to turn ourselves into these idols. This is something that I know you might have heard it in the bio, but I was a middle school teacher when I first graduated from college. And I'm so thankful for those 2 years before I retired. Because as a middle school teacher, fresh out of college, it was one of the most selfless endeavors that I could ever undertake. First of all, I didn't go to school to be a teacher. I graduated with a business degree. And I realized that sometimes in business, it's all about marketing or choosing to glorify a product. And that product can often be something that maybe isn't good for humanity, but it's just good at being able to turn a profit. And shortly after I graduated and I decided to become a middle school teacher, I realized that being a teacher makes it to where you can never be turned into an idol as a teacher because you're in a servant leadership position. As a leader, you understand the importance of each and every day, the information that you put out there to your students or to your audience, that can have life-changing impact on them. So words are truly weapons. I learned that. So since words are weapons, as a hip-hop artist, I've always been mindful about what I'm saying. Because when someone can go online or see me in person and quote some of my lyrics from 10 or 15 years ago, it reminds me how powerful words are. The fact that I can sit here and recite lyrics to my favorite songs from 20 years ago, word for word, lets you know the power of these words. So not only are words weapons, whether you're a teacher or whether you're a musician, but you realize that this is also spiritual. In Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21, it says that there is life and death in the power of the tongue. So many times, we recite what becomes self-fulfilling prophecies. And if you're truly in touch with yourself, you can think of examples to where you're like, wow, I spoke that into existence. In a good way, I spoke it into existence that I would break this generational curse, that I would make it through these tough times. Or in a bad way, I spoke it into existence that I would make this mistake over and over again, that I just have a dark cloud over me. And you realize that these words truly have life-altering potential. So when I was a teacher and I realized that, it made me want to become a rapper full time because I recognized and understood that as a rapper, I'm simply just a communicator. But because I have such a spiritual foundation, I understand that what I'm communicating has to come from a place of love, a place of truth, and a place of honest vulnerability at all times. And more so than just my words, and more so than just what I do, it's how I do it. So everyone in here has a what. We have what we do. We have what we major in. We have what our career is. But your spiritual lens will help you to understand how you're going to do what you do. And the how is more important than the what. When you think about how you choose to, I just think about my life. Lyrics, prayer, and spiritual repair. Let's take all three of those. Lyrics. What do I do for a living? I create hip-hop songs. Then I put them out for the masses to consume. Then people memorize them. Then I go to venues all around the country and I recite these lyrics to people who have already memorized them and who are reciting them back to me. That's what I do. The how I choose to do that is so important because I can be spreading love or spreading hate and confusion to the masses simply by how I choose to do what it is that I'm doing. We all have a what and a how, and I challenge you to think about that. What's your what and what's your how? When I think about prayer is something to where, as a man of God, as a man of faith, I can sit here and pray each and every day. That's the what. But a lifetime full of prayers can look totally different depending on how I choose to approach my prayer life. Is your prayer life centered around me? I want this. I need this. God, please give me this. God, I need more. Yeah, just everything that you see happening right here, that's essentially what it is. Me. Do we want our prayer lives to look like that? Because at some point, we'll be able to look back and we'll be able to see all of our actions, all of our words, everything that we chose to do with this limited time that we have here on earth. And when it comes to our prayer life and we think, I have the ability to literally put positive intentions and positive energy out there on behalf of someone who may need it right now. And we literally have that power that we've been blessed with. How do we choose to use that power? It's not the what, but it's the how. When we think about prayers, oftentimes people don't take advantage of the true power that's contained inside of prayer. You know why? Because if your spirituality is not at the top of your totem pole of identity, you'll be thinking, why take time and energy to pray to a spiritual entity like God when I have more important things to do right now? More important things like going to this meeting. More important things like getting this bag, getting this money. For those of y'all who don't know what a bag is, getting this money. We have a diverse crowd in here. I have more important things to do, like check off all this stuff on my to-do list that makes me feel accomplished. Because without awards and stats, my young brother / one of my students, Kyle, who read my bio today, he asked me, what do you want me to emphasize on your bio? I said, man, whatever you want. Everything or nothing. Because I'm in a stage in my life to where I understand that my identity is rooted in my spirituality, and I've already been validated. I don't have to do anything. I was chosen to be alive, to be David Augustine Jr. When you realize that, it is so liberating that you find that all of these awards and stats on our bios and salaries and all of these trinkets, they're cool, but they don't make or break us. Imagine living a life with that type of freedom. That's what I pray for everyone in here. Our time is limited here on this earth. And when I think about lyrics, prayer, and finally spiritual repair, Lord have mercy. There's definitely some spiritual repair that's needed. There's wars taking place literally as we speak, as I speak. There's bombings taking place overseas. There's people in the streets of America right now that by the time I counted 12, someone would have been murdered. This is really happening. There's also people that are at war with themselves, because just like I have light in me, I also have darkness in me. Just like I have good in me, I also have evil inside of me. And it's a matter of what we're going to intentionally choose to lean into and to feed. We're always feeding ourselves, and it's not just food, it's media. We're feeding ourselves with friendships, who we choose to hang around and allow to pour into us. These things really, really play a role in our spiritual selves and how we feel on a daily basis. So I've had to have a lot of the wrongness poured into me over time in order to learn the difference between pouring into myself spiritually in a positive versus a negative manner. Because the interesting part about this crafty being named the devil is that he will warp your mindset and have you desiring what is poisonous for you spiritually. Literally will have you having a taste and becoming addicted to what's poisonous. That is what happens when you live this life from a spiritual point of view. It allows you to smile even though someone stole from you. It allows you to still want to hug someone and even be willing to serve someone who has hurt you in the past, because you recognize that that is simply evil that's working through that person and prevailing over their goodness, over their godliness. And just like we've deserved second and third chances when we've messed up, so does everyone else. And just understanding the best way to show up in this world is to allow our spirituality to be at the top of our totem pole of identity. Just that understanding right there, it also helps you to realize that perfection is not the expectation. Because we serve a God that is perfect, but we're made in God's image. So we have that in us, but we understand that we always have work to do. That's how come I'm never bored in life. There's no such thing as being bored when you're purpose-driven. Think about it like this. We have our God-given purpose. We have our devil-given purpose. And we have our self-given purpose. You will fulfill one of them by the time your life is over. Which one will it be? Will it be the devil's purpose for you? To strategically, what did the scripture say? To strategically have to stand firm against all the strategies of the devil. The devil is strategic and crafty. Will you fulfill your DGP, your devilish given purpose, by the end of your life? That's the purpose that'll have you using all of your gifts that you were blessed with by God, but using them for the wrong reason. Using them for the purpose that they were not designed for. If you're a rapper like me, using this life-changing gift that I have to glorify murder, glorify drug dealing, glorify disrespecting women. That would be using the gift for the wrong purpose. Then the way the world works is you'll get awarded, you'll get rewarded for using that purpose for the wrong reason. Now you'll get this validation, which is something else we can fall in love with from the world. And you'll be like, well, since I'm getting rewarded, I must be doing something right. But who are you getting rewarded by? Who are you getting rewarded by? And if you don't think about this stuff, by the end of your life, you will have climbed to the top of a mountain. And you'll probably feel great until you have that revelation that that's the mountain that the devil wanted you to climb. And you have gained quite a bit for the purpose of glorifying and furthering the devil's mission. That's your devilish given purpose. Your self-given purpose can also get fulfilled in this world. Your self-given purpose, that's when you simply get down here and you just conform to the ways of this world. Hey, be positive, but don't be godly. That'll turn people off if you're too spiritual. We accept positivity everywhere in the world. That's celebrated. But don't be too spiritually connected. Do the things that just allow you to have a comfortable life to where you don't stir anything up, you don't shake things up too much, and you're able to just make a healthy living for you and yours, and then you die. And along the way, there will be a bunch of validation that comes from people saying, good job, good job, good job, good job. That's a life that a lot of people say, hey, that doesn't seem too bad. It's actually called the American dream. I can get a house, get some land, accumulate some debt when I'm in college, work to pay that off eventually, get married, have a few kids, retire, get old and gray, and pass away. That's not why we were put here. There's too much darkness and too much evil in this world to think that we were put here for that self-given purpose. That's when you're only concerned about yourself. It'll have you wanting to avoid anything that seems like, oh, this is going to require extra effort. This is going to require a real fight from me. This is going to require some uncomfortable moments or some uncomfortable growth within me. Your self-given purpose will have you like, nah, I didn't sign up for that. And finally, your God-given purpose. That's the third option we have. If we want to fulfill our God-given purpose, the formula is very simple. Number one, we have to acknowledge that God gave us life. If we acknowledge that, accept that, and firmly believe that, then we'll know and understand that we do not belong to ourselves. We belong to an omnipresent, omnipotent God. And because of that, we were blessed with an opportunity to be here to serve God. So spiritually, when you understand that, you start to think, well, how do I serve God? This is the good part. When you're not connected with your spiritual self, you'll often be wandering around this world thinking, what do I do to feel important? What do I do to make a difference? And naturally, we look and we compare ourselves to people who are important by the world standards, or important in terms of how much they're accomplishing. The issue is, you were not called to be them, and they were not called to be you. We were given everything that we need already to fulfill our God-given purpose in this world. Those things that we were gifted just by being here, like those skills, those talents, those certain areas that we're just naturally passionate about because of what we went through, and at one time it was a test in our lives, they've now become part of our testimony. And because it's part of our testimony, we've become an expert on overcoming these certain things in our lives. For me, I think about the fact that I've dealt with suicidal thoughts in a real way before in my life since I've been in the music industry. I think about the fact that my freshman year in college, I went through everything from experiencing the death of one of my best friends to having my identity cracked and just totally disintegrated because it was built on things that were temporary. It was built on being a star basketball player until I got cut from the team. It was built on being in a relationship until she met those football players. It was built on having a certain friend group until those friends decided that they wanted to change for the worse now that we were in college. When I think about these things, I realize that none of that is what was going to define me as a person. But the fact that I was able to overcome anything that I went through, it prepared me to simply use my own life experiences to become the best version of who I could be. And becoming the best version of who you're meant to be is simply so that you can pour into people in the most authentic way possible in this world. There's no script to being a spiritual being. It's about submission. There's no script, there's no salary, there's no prerequisite other than simply submitting to knowing who you serve. Once I've done that in my life, I've been able to take everything that I was blessed with, my skills, my talents, my passions, and I was simply able to understand how I'm supposed to use them. This isn't hard at all. My mom named me David. Is that coincidental? Not at all. Because I think about David defeating Goliath. And people often think about David defeating Goliath, but they don't realize that David had a choice to make. He could have listened to everyone around him who didn't have the same relationship that he had with God. They had their own relationship with God. But because David had a relationship with God, number one, he was supremely confident. Extremely, supremely confident. So much so that when people tried to help him out and say, here, use this shield, use this sword in order to battle Goliath, David was able to politely decline and say, nope, that's your gift. Nope, that's your weapon. I know what mine is. It's this slingshot. And I've been honing this skill, I've been using this skill to serve my father when I tend to my father's flock out there in the field. I've been killing wild animals with this slingshot. So now that I have Goliath in my way, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid because I know what I've been blessed with. I know what my gifts and my passions are, but I also know how to use them. It's not what, it's how. This is what people don't think about, y'all. David could have used that slingshot, and if he didn't understand how to properly use it to serve the God that created him, he could have misused it. And instead of tossing a stone at Goliath and defeating him, David could have used that same gift and turned the opposite direction and started tossing rocks at his own people. Metaphorically, that's what happens in this world when we fulfill our devil-given purpose or our self-given purpose. We're using our time here. We're using our talents and our skills, but we're not using them for the purpose God designed them for. So oftentimes, we can be making an impact, but that impact can actually be hurting this world. That impact can actually be hurting our own community. It's very important to think about what you're here to do, but to think about how you're going to do it. And as a spiritual being, if you have any doubt why you were put in this world, it was not to make the devil proud. It was not to make yourself just more and more of an idol to the point where you're out here thinking that you're God. It was to make your Creator, to make God extremely proud of you. And your joy is a gift that you will have when you truly realize who you serve. Because no one can take you away from or separate you from your Creator. So when I say my joy is my weapon, it's something that I can take anywhere with me. It's something that I take in any room, in any environment, whether I'm just being tolerated or whether I'm being celebrated there. That joy has the ability to change the temperature in the rooms that we walk into. And you can't have that joy if it's circumstantial. You can't have that joy if it's simply something that's like, well, I have to be outdoing my peers right now in order to have this. Your joy makes it to where you're not even competing with anybody. You realize that my joy is something that should never depart from who I am. Because my joy comes from the fact that you thought enough about me to put me here. And okay, things aren't perfect. Cool, I'm going through some things. But I even understand that because I understand the context. Every problem has a solution. And when those solutions include God and include us being the best of who we are, we can still have joy even amidst chaos. So when people choose to live in this world, and out of everything that's going on, they choose to say, I am focusing on the darkness. I'm focusing on the negativity. My entire outlook on the world is based on what's not going right. That signals that they have either made something else their God or that they have become disconnected from God. Because when you're truly connected to God, you have to smile. You can't help but smile. You have to be peaceful. You can't help but be peaceful. You can't help but remember how many times you've been forgiven. So who am I to not forgive? Who am I to not be willing to wash your feet? Who am I to sit here and not be willing to pour into you so that you can be the best version of yourself? Because I know that the best version of you is not a threat to who I was meant to be. And you realize that we're actually all on the same team. Because human beings are not our ops. They're not our enemies. It's the evil spirits and principalities that exist in people and that exist all in the spiritual realm around us. So as I conclude, if you haven't been living life conscious of the physical realm that we can see and feel, and if you haven't been living life conscious of the spiritual realm that exists all around us, that you can't necessarily see, but that you can feel, then I'm asking you today to take time out to get reconnected to the God that created us all. To not think about just who you are. You can look in the mirror and see who you are. But to think about whose you are. And when you truly reflect upon why you're here and who put you here, and the fact that you've been equipped with a bunch of tools, I don't have that many talents. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I do not have that many talents. But I realize that I don't need that many talents. Because the ones that I do have, because I'm aware of them, I'm aware of what they are, and I'm aware of how to use them, my life is finna be lit until I get called home. I have work to do, and I know how to do it. It's that simple. So for all of you all who have an abundance of skills, an abundance of talents, or even if you just have one thing that you're really passionate about, a problem that you really want to help be the solution for, that's all we need while we're down here. And the last piece to the puzzle is to get connected to other people who view life the same way you do. Because at that point, there's an unspoken bond that exists. There's an unspoken language to where you realize we relate on a spiritual level. So that's going to dictate how we love on one another, how patient we are with one another, how we celebrate one another. And that is truly what life is about. So until the day I die, it hasn't happened yet. I don't foresee it happening in the future. You won't see D1 carrying a gun. I don't know what that's the Second Amendment, one of those things. Yeah, with all respect to that, you won't see me with that. You won't see me sitting here beefing with human beings. No matter what they say about me, if they threaten me, if they don't understand me, if they mischaracterize me, you won't see any of that. Because I understand that my joy is my weapon. And I'm going to take that joy with me until the day I get called home. And that weapon will disarm and dismantle and overpower and empower everyone that is meant to in this physical realm. Because although I exist here, I'm not from here. I'm from somewhere far greater. I love y'all. I'm D1. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Truly appreciate it. So now, I only got about 3 of them. I only got about 3 talents, y'all, but I get to use one of them. Y'all just heard one with me speaking. If you come to my class tomorrow, I teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you'll get to see another one, which is teaching. But now, you get to see the third one, which is rapping. So I am joined by my amazing choir mates who are about to come up here, and we have 2 selections that we're going to perform for you. These are songs that I have performed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, but it just hits a little different when I got this choir behind me. I'm super excited about this. This first song that we're going to do, let's see. Yep. This first song that we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is called I Know God. And in a nutshell, that's just 3 words that sum up everything that I just spoke to you all about. I know God. For the chorus, we're going to accept our humanity. We simply say, I know God's got a plan for me, but I don't know what it is. I'm just out here trying to handle my biz. I know God's got a plan for me, but I don't know what it is. I'm just out here trying to handle my biz. That's the truth. God has a plan for all of us. Are we able to predict the future? Of course not. We don't know what it is, but we should just be down here trying to handle our biz. Biz is short for business, in case anybody, yeah. But that's it, it's that simple. So let's let it rip. I know God. You gonna do your thing even when I'm rapping? Oh, shoot, okay. Oh, we going viral with this, yeah. Check. I know God's got a plan for me, but I don't know what it is. Hopefully they have a beautiful wife and a couple kids. So many things trying to hold me back in this world. Plus life's so much harder when you black in this world. I'm just trying to put my family in a much better position. People disguising as friends, they my competition. I'm on a mission, pressure risen. Try to hit my partners up to vent, they too busy to listen. Yeah, can't drop the ball. Some hating on me, others waiting on my downfall. Never know how long we got here, so I'm in a rush. People think they untouchable till they get touched. Ain't no limit to the struggles life will bring, but every day I be hustling, doing my little thing. I ain't trying to play the victim. I never asked this question, but could you pray for me? Everybody say, I know God got a plan for me, but I don't know what it is. I'm just out here trying to handle my biz. I know God got a plan for me, but I don't know what it is. I'm just out here trying to, what you say? I know, but I don't know what it is. I'm just out here trying to, what you say? I know. Everybody, 3, 2, 1, let's go. I know God got a plan for me. Come on, everybody, I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody, what you say? I like it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, what you say? And the enemy been coming at my head lately, Seem like every bird want my bread lately. Too many people in my city found dead lately. And my girl been leaving me on red lately. I ain't even tripping, I'm one of God's soldiers. This chip on my shoulder, the size of a boulder. Told you, showed you, love you, support you. You can't be trusted, cut you off like I don't know you. Outgrow you, I don't owe you. Charge for what I sold you. Go now, get right, put on for the culture. Delivering that music that my fan base felt. Flow so high to make the butter on your pancakes melt. Woo, people be complaining about the hand they dealt. Cause they lack perspective and don't understand themselves. Only getting one life, I know I'm too blessed. I keep my threes up, now everybody say. I know God got a plan for me, but I don't know what it is. I'm just out here trying to handle my biz. I know God got a plan for me. I'm just out here trying to, I know God got a, everybody, here we go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. I know God got a plan for me. Come on, come on. Everybody sing it loud. Come on, come on. Everybody sing it loud. Come on, come on, come on. Everybody sing it loud. Yeah. That's all on y'all. Y'all gotta say it. Ready? I know. But I don't know what it is. I'm just out here trying to handle my biz. I know. Keep it going. I know. What you say? Yeah, I try to tell everybody that I know God, and I stick with him even when times is hard. Try to tell them people that I know God, and I stick with him even when times is hard, yeah. Clap it up, y'all. Keep going, quiet, keep going. Help them out, y'all. They say, I know God got a plan for me, but I don't know what it is. I'm just out here trying to handle my biz. God got a plan for me, but I don't know what it is. I'm just out here trying to handle my biz. I know God got a plan for me, and I don't know what it is. I'm just down there trying to handle my biz. I know God got a plan for me, and I don't know what it is, but I'm down there trying to handle my biz. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Y'all are so amazing. Yep. So this next song is called My Happy. I had a song called My Joy Is My Weapon, but I wanted the choir to be involved in both of these songs, so My Happy was a better selection to do for this particular environment. But this song, My Happy, the hook simply says, I'm not giving up my happy. Ain't up for discussion, don't at me. All that negative could walk past me. We going high tonight, up to the sky tonight. I'm not giving up my happy. Ain't up for discussion, don't at me. All that negative could walk past me. We going high tonight, up to the sky tonight. Let's go. Check, 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 check. Mic check, 1, 2, It's D1, Tufts University. Shout out to the chaplaincy. Shout out to Tisch College. Shout out to all my students. Man, it's going down, man. It's the Russell Lecture 2024. Everybody listen up, y'all. I don't look like what I've been through, amen. When I ain't have outside money, I stayed in. When hard times showed up, I could've caved in. But mama didn't raise a loser, I played to win. I've been through a lot of drama, but it never broke me. Now I'm happier than ever, ask the ones who know me. People swear they be so loyal, I just tell them show me. Sometimes they in, sometimes they out. This ain't hokey pokey, smiling from the inside, I be glowing. Had to learn to trust my gut, I be knowing. Don't poke no bad vibes around me, I be towing. This is my harvest from the seeds I've been sowing. It's the same God, different day, whether hidden in the hills, put around the way. If you're focused on the good, trying to get it underlay, say, hey. I'm not giving up my happy. All that negativity walk past me. We going high tonight, up to the sky tonight. I'm not giving up my happy. make you feel good if you're around me. Let's party. Round 1, round 2, round 3. Good people, good times, man, I prayed for these days. Invested in myself, man, I stayed for these days. Kept following God, I obeyed for these days. Kept following God, I obeyed for these days. Now I'm happy and it hit different. I'm walking in my own lane, so the shoes fit different. When you know what's yours is yours, you gotta love it. Happiness that's well deserved, you gotta love it. Think about the places I've been, you gotta love it. I don't want these days to end, you gotta love it. Listen, it's the same God, different day, whether hidden in the hills, hood around the way. If you're focused on the good, trying to get it on delay, say, hey. I'm not giving up my, ain't no fucking. All that negative can walk. We going high, up to the sky. I'm not. I'm not giving up my happy. I'm not giving up my happy. What? I'm not. 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 Talk to him quiet, hit him with it. Oh. So beautiful. So beautiful. They're trying to come on tour with me, y'all. I'm gonna take them out of Tufts. Take them all around the world. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, listen, I said God got a plan. I'm proud to be a strong black man. Don't let them think that you can not. Cause you were here not to be a have-not, but to be a winner. Even if you don't end up on Sports Center, be real, don't be no pretender. You gotta keep it authentic. Conquer whatever you are presented. I bet you won't quit. I bet you won't quit. Cause you ain't giving up your happy. And you know God. You ain't giving up your happy. So you gonna win even when times get hard. Ladies and gentlemen, my prayer as we conclude this, it's just, God, we just trying, Lord. We trying to receive knowledge. We trying to put out wisdom for people. We trying to use our gifts and talents. We imperfect, but hopefully you see our heart. You see what we doing. You see how we doing it. We showing up, we growing up, and we serving you. So just watch us all and keep us covered in this physical realm, because we know that it's a spiritual world we live in, and we can't stop. We can't quit. You too legit. And I'd like to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much. Yeah. There it is. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, yes. Absolutely. Can y'all make a whole lot of noise for Miss Susie? Wait, yeah, Susie, there you go. For Miss Susie as well as the whole choir, as well as everybody. Everybody, yes. Each and every one of y'all. This has been awesome. I'm D1. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Tufts University, thank you. This is a place where I feel very celebrated. It's a difference between feeling tolerated and celebrated. And I'd like to thank everyone from the top down. That's Dean Dana Cunningham. That's President Kumar, you heard me? And all the students as well. That's Chaplain Elise, Nora, everybody. Thank y'all so much. We got a little more, so y'all stay tuned. Peace.
Can we get, is it on? Can you guys hear me back there? Yeah, awesome. All right, can we get one more round of applause for Voices of Peace and Light and D1? Very empowering, to say the least. My name is Juan Sinana. I'm a senior here at Tufts University, also a student of Professor Uno. Thank you so much for everything that you've brought to us tonight, this community, over the past couple of months. I know you came out here for the first time last spring as a part of the Solomon Speaker Series. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be partaking in this Q&A with you here. The first question that we have is related to your work here on Tufts campus. You know, as a Christian of deep faith, how have you found it collaborating with different groups on campus like Interfaith Ambassadors, the Chaplaincy, Tisch College of Civic Life, alongside your class and other community members?
Thank you, Wansi. I have felt like every part of who I am is encouraged to show itself on this campus. Not like D1, we like the rapping side of you and the teaching side of you, but the spiritual side, you could kind of like push that to the back. I have not felt like that at all. So that's been amazing, and it has been encouraging to know that I have an actual relationship with the lead chaplain on campus, and not only the lead chaplain, but to understand that there are students on this campus who are actually like in that season of life that I was in when I was trying to figure out, what does my faith really mean to me? Where does it exist at on that totem pole of my identity? And to know that there are students, yourself included, who are exploring that side of their life, it feels great to be what I wish I had during this season of life, which is just a beacon of light to show that I can coexist in a lot of different micro communities on this campus, but I take my faith with me everywhere. And it doesn't prohibit me from existing anywhere on campus, but it actually helps me to understand my why and my purpose for when I am sitting down with any particular student, faculty member, or group on campus.
No, yeah, thank you for that response. And I myself, as an interfaith ambassador on campus, we have a multi-faith chaplaincy, so I definitely hear you in the sentiments of, you know, being able to carry your faith as a part of your identity publicly in the work that you do, and, you know, being able to work with people like Elise, Preeta, Lynn, and the other chaplains, Dan. I hear that, and I appreciate that, and I think Tufts does a great job, and Elise does a great job leading the chaplaincy in those efforts. Another question that I have for you is, considering yourself as a disruptor, that was something that was a part of the description for this event, using the different identities that you have to disrupt in the realms of media, entertainment, music, things like that. What sort of sentiments would you share with individuals that are interested in being disruptors within their communities and their respective fields, but they face a little bit of hesitancy or fear due to the fact that the people around them are complicit within the systems or the reality that they're a part of, or they don't feel comfortable taking that risk and, you know, that leap of faith into being a disruptor?
That's a very timely and relevant question to my life right now. And oftentimes, I have experienced the transition from looking up to certain people to, over the course of a few years, them saying, wow, I actually look up to you now, and I admire you. And I recognize that what happens is some people reach a limit in their life to where they feel like they've done all that they can do to push the ball forward or push the agenda of being a disruptor, and they feel stuck. And oftentimes, we might not recognize it, but the people closest to us are the people who we can't. It's the same, it's like the cycle of life, even with our parents, to where now it's like, wait, I'm of age now to where I can help my parents out in various ways that I could have never dreamed of when I was a teenager or when I was a kid and I was totally dependent upon them. It's that cycle of life. So I've just recognized that until I feel like I have maxed out and reached my peak or my limit, which I pray I never feel that way, but until that happens, there are new levels that I can help to unlock in others simply by walking in my purpose and walking in my God-given purpose. So that is something that once I saw it happen once, and I realized that a person who I've looked up to for a long time in the industry that I'm in was like, hey, what you are doing and the way that you're approaching things, this is lighting my fire once again. And at first I didn't believe him, but then I was like, wow, that honest moment of vulnerability let me know that someone always needs us, and we may not know who it is. That's why we have to keep showing up as our best self, because every day that we are alive, someone needs us, and we simply don't know who it is. And it's not our job to know who it is. I know God's got a plan for me, but I don't know what it is. I'm just out here trying to handle my biz, you know? And I recognize that, man. I've seen it enough times to where I'm just like, wow, I just got to keep showing up. And I got to keep showing up with that joy as well. Because if I show up without the joy, it's like, you know, it's like, I'm from the South, so I like sweet tea. So it's like tea showing up without the sweetness, you know? Because at y'all restaurants up here, I promise, I be looking like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I got to take sugar packets and put it in there? That's like artificially inseminating the joy inside of somebody. You got to show up with that joy, you know? So that's the approach that I take.
Thank you. And yeah, those are the two questions that I have. I believe now we'll turn it to the audience. Nora is back there with a microphone, as is Jess. And so maybe take a question or two from anybody that may have one. I see one right here.
First, I definitely want to acknowledge you, acknowledge God for giving you these gifts, and for you coming here. I actually came across you on Instagram, and it was a post you called the Platinum Pledge, and that caught my attention. And I just wanted to know, you know, where do you see that going? Like, what do you envision, and how far is that going to go in? You know, how are you going to tell, like, how us creatives and innovators going to really use that message that God's given you and start really spreading it out? Because I believe in it, and, you know, like I said, just gratitude to you, brother.
Thank you so much, brother.
Yes, sir.
That's literally a living testament to someone always needs you who you didn't even realize needed you, you know? What he just asked me about was something that I had on my heart coming into this year that I initiated called the Platinum Pledge. So in the music industry, going platinum is like the highest standard of achievement and accomplishment. When you sell like 1 million records or something, that's going platinum. So I took platinum and I made that word into an acronym. So platinum stands for People Leading a Transformation Involving Newly Unified Mindsets. Because I want to empower an entire generation of people who specifically either create or consume hip-hop music to say that we are vowing. The Platinum Pledge says we vow to stand together and say that we are not going to create, support, or promote hip-hop music or just music that is glorifying murder, glorifying drug dealing and drug use, glorifying the disrespect of women, and glorifying sexual irresponsibility. So that's the Platinum Pledge, right? So that was definitely put on my heart to start, and thousands and thousands and thousands of people have been signing it. It's on my website. It's on d1music.com, D-E-E, the number 1, music.com. If you want to go and sign it, I would love to have your support. And the next step is exactly what this brother just asked me, because once all these thousands of people started signing it, and once I realized that there is a true hunger for something different to take place, to where people say, we love hip-hop, but we just want a healthier version and brand of hip-hop moving forward, because we love it in a way that we can also speak about maybe what's wrong with it currently. It's clicked to me and dawned on me that this is a for life movement. This isn't like an album. When I put an album out, I promote it for a certain amount of time, then it's on to the next album. So this has allowed me to fully recognize that I have stepped into the role of being an organizer at this point. And being an organizer, the same way if I stepped into a new realm of being a professor, for example, I was asking advice from my brother Gene and from other people who have taught here on campus, like, hey, what's the ins and outs of this and how you feel about if I was to do this with my class? The same way I was doing that, I recognized that as an organizer, I have to be around people who strategize and ultimately execute on saying we have something that has mobilized people, but now we have to move forward now that we have their attention. And that's where I'm at, brother, because I know that I have a lot of people on board and ready to move forward right now. And I have the next 3 steps planned out, but I want to have the next 10 steps planned out before we even take 1 step. Because the worst thing that you can do is organize people, start moving in a certain direction, and then not fully know what's the end game in mind. And I know that the end game is ultimately to fulfill our God-given purpose, because there's no way that you're making music, glorifying, killing other people, and that's your God-given purpose. There's no way that that's the truth. And there's no way that you're consuming that type of music and that that's what God would want us pouring into ourselves, spiritually and media-wise. So as far as the next steps, because of what you just said, the next step is tomorrow's Thursday. By Friday at the latest, I'm going to address everyone formally via email who has signed up for the Platinum Pledge to let them know where we are, who is on board, and what the next steps are because of that. Because I've been sitting on it right now, just kind of marveling at, like, a lot of people are really feeling this. I was on the Breakfast Club last week, and Charlamagne, DJ Envy, they were like, we rocking with the Platinum Pledge. Like, we support that. And I'm like, whoa, what's next? But, yeah, bro, thank you for asking that. Because if not, I think I was just kind of sitting there like, oh, I don't want to mess up this next step. And then that was preventing me from taking the next step. So God's purpose. There you go. God's purpose. Yeah, you're right. I'm sure. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for doing this and for blessing us today, man. What I want to ask is, as an activist, how is your faith propelling you, or how is it activating you? And what's your vision for those around you in the community and maybe even the world? As with your slingshot.
Yes, sir. The faith makes me fearless, honestly. When I'm allowing my faith to be at the top of my totem pole of identity, my spirituality, when it's up top, which it always is, it produces a fearlessness to where I'm not afraid to go where they say you shouldn't go or say what they say shouldn't be said, because it's not about what I'm doing. Once again, it's about how I'm doing it. So it's like, I'll go here, I'll talk to this person, I'll say this. It may not be popular, but I know how I'm going to do it. I know how I'm going to show up there. I know how I'm going to say this in a way that is going to build a bridge as opposed to build a wall, So the faith truly produces fearlessness, and I that's why I want that for everyone in here, because when you're operating from a fearless place, life is great. Life is great, and the right mentality makes it to where even the tests, you realize that it's only a certain amount of time before I add an IMONY to that test, and it's part of my testimony. It's only a certain amount of time until then. That's when you're operating with your faith at the forefront. It produces a fearlessness. In terms of what I want for everyone else and everyone around me, I want everyone, number one, to find your slingshot. I found mine. I think I got 3 slingshots, I think it's the ability it's really 1 slingshot, which is communicating. But I found 3 ways effectively to communicate in my adult life that I have seen produce fruit. And that's teaching, that's speaking, and that's rapping. And I want everyone to find their slingshot, because I take it for granted, because I found mine at an early age. I take it for granted that everyone has found theirs, I truly want everyone to find their slingshot and to be content with whatever it is. It may not be as attractive as somebody else's in your eyes, but when you use it for the purpose that God designed it for, it becomes indispensable. It becomes life-changing. It becomes, Imagine a little kid, if we had a little kid in here right now, and they're like, well, D1, because I hear it all the time when I go to schools. D1, my slingshot is playing video games. Right, my slingshot is being a YouTuber. And we chuckle as adults until that young man or that young woman figures out how to use that for the purpose that God designed it for, and then they change the world using something that people didn't understand or people struggled to wrap their brain around or that people struggled to support, you know? Nobody's gonna be a cheerleader at first when you discover your slingshot oftentimes. If you do have people that are cheerleaders, then that's amazing. And I actually think this is such a loving community that like we want to pull that out of people and instantly say, this is what you want to do? Cool. We have a program, we have a college here to help facilitate that. But this is a rare space. This is like a rare bubble in this world, and I've traveled the world at this point. So what I want for everyone is to find their slingshot and to make the harder decision, which is how to use that slingshot to glorify God. That is simply what I want, because in doing that, you will have people fulfilling their GGP, their God-given purpose.
Good evening, everybody. Brother, thank you so much for everything tonight. So I have this question. I've been, since we met last year and seeing the way that God's elevated you and how, you know, even this week, being in the Breakfast Club, something that was very important to you since you started your career. I was wondering what kind of patterns and behaviors ground you with your relationship in God and in the Word on the daily so that you can stay grounded while on the water, while going through seasons where you're not so sure what it's going to look like later, walking by faith, not by sight.
Absolutely. So I make it a habit to feed myself, Embar, on a daily basis spiritually. And that can look like reading the Word of God, which it does look like. That can also look like, in this era, being able to listen to podcasts to where the Word of God is being presented, but then being talked about. That can also look like, so podcasts and actually reading, those are my top two ways that I feed myself spiritually on a daily basis. A third way that is very important, that it probably doesn't happen on a daily basis explicitly, but sometimes it is explicit, sometimes it's indirect, is being able to have talks with other human beings to where we're discussing matters of the spiritual realm. Because now I'm able to say, wow, me and Embar or me and Wansi or me and Kyle are discussing what it is that I'm reading and what it is that I see going on in the spiritual realm. And we're discussing the revelations, the challenges that we are facing and encountering. So those are my top three ways that I continue to feed myself on a daily basis. And I would say the beautiful thing about all three of those is that's accessible to everybody. That's free to everybody. To read the Word of God, to listen to podcasts or watch things on YouTube that are discussing the Word of God, but then also to have a community to where you have other like-minded believers that you can have these type of conversations with. So those three are available to you and me. And I know we said last question. I would feel real bad just because I saw you. I would feel real bad if she didn't get to ask. Yeah, there we go.
I thank you so much. My question was actually very similar to yours around boldness and how you're cultivating boldness. And maybe you could speak a little bit to times where you specifically weren't bold and how you were able to go on the boldness trajectory.
Save the best for last. Yep, that's the one, y'all. Know that's the one right there. That question, that's the one. So the boldness trajectory is something to where from the time that I was in college and I started rapping and I did my first ever performance at a talent show on LSU's campus in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I recognized that how I was choosing to use this gift and this passion of mine was different from what was commonly accepted and celebrated. I'm on stage rapping a song, talking about being a one-man army and, rapping about overcoming obstacles in my life. And the people before and after me performing are just, turning up to like club music and getting lit and getting wasted and things of this nature, right? And I'm just seeing that, dang, I'm already the underdog. So then I went through a season where knowing that I was the underdog and knowing that I was different in terms of how I was showing up in this world, or specifically in this entertainment industry, I went through a season where I tried to blend in as much as possible without compromising. Almost like I'm gonna blend, but I'm not gonna break, you know? And I mastered the art of fitting in to where I would get accepted, but I wasn't all the way changing the core of who I am. And a lot of people celebrate themselves for that. Yes, I figured out how to camouflage to where they don't look at me like, oh, that's D1. You know how he's coming. You know, he coming with a different type of message. I mastered the art of them feeling like I was one of them. And it hurts me to even say that out loud right now because I could have wasted my whole life wanting to be one of them when I've been blessed and entrusted to be one of one. And that is what made me realize that it was missed opportunities. It was huge platforms. If I'll be specific, it was being on tour with my man Macklemore out of Seattle in 2012. He has the biggest song in the world, Thrift Shop at the time. And I'm on tour in front of average of 1,500 to 2,500 people every night. And I mastered over the course of a 52-city tour the art of how to water down what made me different to appeal to his fans as much as possible and give them as much of what I felt like they wanted as possible. I mastered that, Wansi. I was great at it every night. And temporarily in the moment, it was like, this is what acceptance feels like. But then when I got off of that tour, I got back to New Orleans and I felt so ashamed because I recognized who this blessing to be on this tour came from. And I recognized that all of the things that make me different and make me unique, I've mastered the art of camouflaging those things, you know? And that really lit a fire in me to be more bold. That lit a fire in me. So my music started to be more bold, and I started to embrace not fitting in. It was almost like a badge of honor. Like, yes, like I'm gonna be so bold about righteousness. Long as it's righteousness that I'm bold in the name of, and godliness, bold in the name of that, to the point where I want to feel that I'm ostracized from some places because I'm not supposed to fit in with everybody. I want to feel that some opportunities aren't available to me, because then what it did was it made me want to get so good at being bold for righteousness that you still can't deny me, and I still get that platform, and I still get your attention. And that is what the last 11 years of my life have been like. And I've still slipped up, y'all. I had a big opportunity 2 years after that tour to be on the BET Hip Hop Awards Cypher. And I've got millions of people watching me at home. And I slipped back into that mindset. Oh, I got so many people who are going to watch me. What can I do to appeal to the South, and then the West Coast people, and then the ladies, and then the thugs, and, you know, the older people? Like, what can I do? And I end up just watering down all the things that make me great and make me unique. And I slipped into that. And I've seen a pattern that I have deep, dark seasons of life that usually follow me being lukewarm and me watering down the boldness that we should all have, the boldness in the name of righteousness that we should all have. And it usually is accompanied by a pretty dark season. And I had a pretty dark season, like a relapse, I call it. First time I'm ever saying this, but like a relapse, I would say, in 2014 and 15, after what I felt like was another big opportunity. I'm signed to a major record label. I'm getting these big platforms, not just the BET one, but even other ones. And I'm not using them to be bold in my righteousness and in my doing God's work. And that dark season afterwards, that one really scared myself, because I was contemplating some stuff that would have taken me off of this earth altogether. And I was like, David, if you get this upset and this disappointed in yourself for not being bold in the name of righteousness, I mean, you need to just learn your lesson and come on, like do it and don't relapse, and don't let the idea of fitting in or being accepted by certain people in the world, don't ever let that override wanting to make God proud. And I think I've been doing all right since then.
Real quick. The Professor Uno, Professor Augustine, Professor D1. See you in class tomorrow, first of all. Second of all, thank you for everything. Personally, communally, you are appreciated, you are loved, you are well received by the Tufts community. And yeah, we appreciate everything it is that you've been bringing to us and everything that you will continue to bring to us. Unfortunately, we are coming to a close with our time together. Actually, I lied. We have a reception right after this. And in the reception, in the registration that you signed up for this event, there was a question asking you to submit a song that could be, you know, the soundtrack for your life. While you're out there, you know, turn to somebody you've never met before, somebody maybe you came with, and talk to them a little bit about the song that you submitted alongside why. That's that. And to close us off, we have our Hindu chaplain, Preeta, with some, I can only anticipate, amazing words. One more round of applause for D1.
And so I wanted to take this moment as a closing ritual to take 3 deep breaths together and find that insights or those insights that you have gathered in this time together. So if you could find your feet firmly on the ground, your hips aligned with your shoulders and ears, we'll begin our first deep breath together, inhaling deeply from the bottom of your feet, ballooning your belly, barreling your chest, dropping your shoulders, and feeling full of breath to the top of your head. And just notice what it feels like to be full of breath. And then gently exhale as intentionally as you inhaled, letting go of what no longer serves you and trusting that that carbon dioxide becomes oxygen through the universe. Hold at empty. And then begin the second deep breath together in this moment on your own. Breathing in, feeling full, and taking note of those insights that you want to hold. Pause at full, and then slowly, gently exhale. Again, letting go of what no longer serves you and relaxing into your body, into this moment. Hold at empty. And we begin our third and final deep breath together in this moment. Again, starting from the feet, ballooning the belly, barreling the chest, dropping those shoulders, holding at full. And as you exhale this last time together, perhaps sigh, shake your body, add some movement. Let it go. Hold at empty. And when you're ready, return to this room. Connection is the theme I heard over and over again today. Thank you, D1, for all of the connection. What makes a singular noise into meaningful music that speaks to our mind, body, sense complex is the rhythm, the rhyme, the energies and emotions that resonate together to bring our spirits higher. One of my favorite songs growing up that kept me going by ancestor Tupac Shakur, "Keep your head up. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Keep your head up. Ooh, child, things will get brighter." And that is what I hope to pass on to you as we thank D1, our Interfaith ambassadors, our Voices of Peace and Light singers, the Tufts University Chaplaincy, Tisch College, all of you here that have made this moment present, and all of you live streaming. Thank you for making this event so special. Remember that phrase that's lingering for you, D1's words, these moments in community, and look to your left, look to your right, and find these people as we move to the reception, as we linger in this community created with so much care. Let the music continue to inspire you. Thank you.